We've all heard about inflation, right? But do we really understand the term? While it usually seems like a negative, that's not always the case. According to the financial experts at Bienville Capital Group, our next guests are joining us to explain. Please help me welcome back lead partner Emmett Dupas III and associate partner Dylan Hoon. Welcome back to the show, gentlemen.
Great to be back.
Thanks, Malik.
Great to be back. We should be a jazz fest today, right?
I know, right? We should be festing, but we're going to fest in place a little bit this year. But this is an interesting topic that we're talking about. Just reading the intro to everyone and reading it before the segment started, I'm so interested in this topic. Let's start at the ground level. Emmett, what is inflation? Because I'm sure, depending on who you talk to, it can mean different things.
Yeah, so inflation is really a decline in the purchasing power of money. What that means is simply the price level of cost of goods and services that has increased over time. We see this clearly in most of our day-to-day purchases when we compare things, and they cost more today than maybe they did 1, 3, 5, and 10 years ago or 20 years ago, right? You can take a look at the cost of milk, and when you go to the grocery store, or the price of your home, or when you go buy a car, or even you go see your doctors in the hospital. So for many years, the Federal Reserve has really had a 2% goal for inflation. And over time, so seeing these prices increase slowly over time is a sign of a healthy, well-functioning economy. We see milk and we see bread each and every week. And so those are things that are kind of reflective because that's something on our mind each and every week, as opposed to buying juice, which is not once a week.
But that's so interesting to me, like milk and bread, for example. So many people are buying that, meaning people are still spending money on it. Why is it going up if I'm still spending my money? Because I'm thinking now that bread's $1 more, I don't want to buy it anymore. But is that because the people who are making the bread, who are making the milk, they need to sustain their living as well?
That's correct. That's correct. And the cost of those items, the cost of feeding the cows goes up because of the cost of wheat, because of freezes. It's just a number of things that kind of all come together that play into this.
It really is interesting. And, even though, when I hear prices increasing, that's a negative, but there are some benefits to inflation. Dylan, please explain to us some of the benefits.
Yeah, the benefits are inflation is a sign of a well-functioning economy. We've had lower inflation really over the past year, and now we're starting to have inflation pick up. And it's probably a sign that we're exiting the COVID economy that we've had for all of 2020. So you see things like gas, the prices of groceries going up, maybe even some of the costs of some of your bigger goods. And that's a function of demand returning to the market and just the economy getting back to a more normal functioning place.
So true. I want to bring up an example, right? Let's take a gallon of gas. I remember a gallon of gas used to be cheaper than a gallon of sweet tea for me. Now that's not the case. A gallon of gas is definitely much more expensive. But Emmett, we were talking a little bit before, really seeing gas prices increase can actually help our economy. Please explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so with gas prices, it's basically in supply and demand in regards to pricing. And as we come out of this COVID quarantine and you see more people back on the roads, going back to work and commuting again, the demand is higher. Now, for Louisiana, we have taxes that are based off of a gallon of gas. So in our case, we've seen people go back to work that weren't before because oil prices have gone up, and we've seen commuters commuting again. So there's sales tax revenue for the state of Louisiana and for each local parish, like the Orleans, Jefferson, St. Bernard, they're seeing that increase in their taxes. But more importantly, you're seeing people go back to work in Louisiana because that is a huge industry for us.
Very, very interesting. And, even though there are some benefits to inflation, hyperinflation is something we do not want to see. Dylan, please explain a little bit about hyperinflation and why we don't want that in our economy.
Yeah, hyperinflation, and it's not something the U.S. has really ever experienced. But hyperinflation, we've had higher inflation, back in the late 70s and early 80s, which wasn't technically hyperinflation, but you had inflation numbers at 10, 15, 20%. And this was a sign really that the Federal Reserve had lost control of the economy. So a little bit of inflation is a sign that the economy is doing well, but too much of it just means that authorities are probably losing control of the money supply and that things are getting a little bit out of control. So we want to see inflation, but too much of it's going to hurt our purchasing power, and you're going to really feel it in your pocketbook.
The magic number is 2% because when you see that 10% and 15%, then ooh, we're looking at something we don't want to go down. Now, Emmett, I love when you all come on because you really give us some great information about, finances and all of that. At Bienville Capital Group, what types of people do you all work with and what services you offer? Can you answer more questions about inflation if people watching have them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. They can reach out to us. The number will be posted afterwards. But our team here, we've got our team. We oversee about close to 600 million of client assets in the realm of what we do. We work with everyday people who are working day jobs who come to us with their assets, so they're retirees with their 401k plans, that they come to us and need really some financial planning and some retirement planning. We work with business owners and help them in regards to that qualified plan, and help educate their employees and help them with their fiduciary responsibilities that they have for their employees and for their companies on the 401k and 403b side. So
really, really good to know. And for me, I want to become a millionaire one day. I think you're the people who can help me accomplish that. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this morning. And hey, for more information about Bienville Capital Group, their offices are located in Metairie, 111 Veterans Boulevard, Suite 940 is the address. And for more information, including how you can set up an appointment, visit bienvillecapitalgroup.com or call 504-620-4801.